I'm sure you can tell by the name of this YouTube channel, I am a huge wrestling fan. But what if I told you that just 3 years ago, I wasn't watching any wrestling at all? You see, my whole childhood, I was a huge WWE fan. At some points at times, it felt like my whole childhood revolved around wrestling. Whether it was a 6-year-old version of me crying my eyes out because Shawn Michaels lost his career to The Undertaker, or even an 11-year-old version of me doing the yes movement in my living room, just praying that they'd put the title on Daniel Bryan, or finally, watching my favorite faction in WWE history, The Shield, breaking up as Seth Rollins hit Roman Reigns with the chair. These are just some of the best moments that I remember from my childhood as a wrestling fan. But as you can tell from the title of this video, at some point in 2014, I sadly gave it up. Between football and football practice, tennis and tennis practice, and even just trying to have a social life in general at school, I didn't find time for wrestling in between. I couldn't watch, the weekly shows, and I definitely couldn't watch the PLEs. I just didn't have time. Like, I would obviously check in on social media to see how my favorite superstars were doing, but at this point in time, I certainly would not call myself a WWE fan. And this is unfortunately how it would stay until April 3rd of 2022. And I will never forget this date because this is the day that I fell back in love with professional wrestling. You see, my childhood best friend, he called me up, and me and him were always so close because of wrestling. We would always talk WWE when we were kids, and he called me up and he wanted to talk about WrestleMania 38 Night 1. And he told me all about Night 1. He told me about Stone Cold coming back. He told me about Logan Paul wrestling in the WWE. But the thing that really caught my eye and caught my ear and made me listen was he told me all about Cody Rhodes returning to the WWE. And I'm not completely brain dead at this point. I had been keeping up with Cody Rhodes and just some of the fantastic things that he had done in the Indies, what he had done in Ring of Honor, what he had done in AEW. So I was in the know somewhat of what Cody had been up to since forcing his release out of the WWE in 2016. And so when I heard that one of the founders of AEW was returning to the WWE and one of my favorite superstars, I was hooked. And I remember being on this phone call with my friend Jackson, and he said, dude, WrestleMania Night 2 is tonight. We live in the DFW area. Of course, this is taking place at the Cowboy Stadium. We should 100% go. And I was skeptical, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I had a shift that night, but just something in my heart told me, hey, man, get this shift covered and go ahead and go to WrestleMania. You will not regret it. So I called up one of my best friends. He was actually a coworker of mine at the time, and I said, hey, man, I really need you to cover my shift tonight. Me and my friend are trying to go to WrestleMania. This would be like life-changing for me. I grew up a wrestling fan and I never got to go to a WrestleMania, so please. And shout out Aiden, man, because without any hesitation, he said, yeah, have a good time. I'll cover your shift. Don't worry about it. And I just got to say, if he didn't cover my shift and if Jackson never called me to go to WrestleMania, I can't say that I would be sitting in front of this camera right now talking to you guys. And as soon as we got into AT&T Stadium for WrestleMania, I just immediately fell back in love with the community, with all of wrestling in entirety, because I saw all the shirts that people were wearing, I saw all the music that people were listening to, and man, I was just so overwhelmed with how much that I had missed in my time away from WWE. And when we got to our seats, man, we bought some of the cheapest seats in the entire stadium. We were up in the nosebleeds. I think we paid like $43 for our tickets. But at the time, we weren't huge wrestling fans, so we weren't going to pay $300-400 to sit first level. It just wasn't in our budget. But it did not matter where we were sitting because we had a great time. We got to see the Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville match, which I thought was super funny, super hilarious. We had a lot of good people sitting around us that it was nice to just talk with them and let them know just how much that I had missed out on in WWE. And of course, the final match of the night was Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the unification title match. And I gotta say, for me personally, watching this live, it was a great match. Some people want to say that it was just finisher after finisher after finisher, which it was, man. But I was just so in awe of this match, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to start watching WWE again right now. And I remember going home that night, and I got on Depop or eBay, one of the two, and I immediately bought a DX shirt and a Randy Orton shirt, and I will never forget. I was just like, all right, I am locking back into the WWE. I'm going to watch Monday Night Raw this week. I'm going to watch SmackDown this week. And I'm going to fully fall back in love with wrestling. And that is exactly what I did. Getting to see the Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins trilogy, that was just something that I found so amazing. And it really made me feel like I was a kid again watching WWE. So for that, I gotta say Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, I am forever grateful because I credit the both of them for me falling back in love with this sport that I just used to love so much. And I remember getting to watch the whole build up to WrestleMania 39, and man, I gotta say, I was heartbroken when Cody Rhodes was unable to win the WWE title, and I thought to myself, man, maybe WWE hasn't changed after all, maybe they're still making these horrible booking decisions, but man, I thought to myself, I'm gonna see this out, because at the end of the day, you know, this sports entertainment, this wrestling company just made me feel heartbroken over a match, and I was just glad to be able to see that I could feel that kind of emotion again for wrestling. And that is exactly what I did. I got to continue watching WWE on the build up to WrestleMania 40. I actually got to go to the infamous SmackDown where Cody Rhodes slapped The Rock. There's a video of that on my channel. And man, this was the greatest that I have personally ever seen wrestling in my entire life. You know, in these last 3 years, I got to witness basically the whole Bloodline story. I got to witness the We Want Cody chants. I got to witness the final boss Rock. I got to witness Sami Zayn as the honorary Uce. I got to witness the CM Punk and Drew McIntyre feud. I got to see Rhea Ripley emerge as the probably one of the best WWE female wrestlers to ever live. And Dirty Dom, all of this stuff that I've gotten to witness in the last 3 years is all because I picked up the phone and I went to WrestleMania 38 Night 2, and I am forever grateful for that. And now, just a month ago, I decided, hey man, I really like this wrestling stuff. I really like talking about this wrestling stuff. But of course, not all of my friends are wrestling fans, so I can't necessarily talk to them about it. And that is exactly why I created this channel. And after only a month time, and I want to say 22 videos posted, I have already hit 100 subscribers, and I gotta say, thank you so much to that. You know, a lot of people don't think that 100 subs is a big deal, but to me, that means everything. Even if it were only 5 people watching my videos, I am flattered by that. I love it. I love the fact that I'm going to be able to build a community with you guys and be able to talk wrestling and go over y'all's hot takes, go over y'all's opinions, let me express some of my opinions. I just think that it is really going to be the greatest thing going forward. And that is how I fell back in love with wrestling after 10 years. If you guys made it this far into the video, leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment. Turn on the noti bell as you don't want to miss any of my content, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.